Hallo, ich bin's, die Birgit. I'm the owner at the Wishing Thorn, a designer website with some supplies, not a lot, both in samplers and some original designs that are not necessarily sampler related. We have a lot to talk about, guys. It's so many things to show you. It's been so long. Ugh. Time seems to be flying these days. Can't believe the year's pretty much almost done and we're thinking Christmas already. Yikes. I have a bunch of patterns to show you. I sort of opened up some of my old bins so these are, I don't think there's maybe a couple of new releases of somebody in there, but most of them are older patterns. Got some good books to show you. Have a ton of samplers on the other side waiting for, the top-down view. We're going to be taking one apart. My cool, really new, funky one that I love so much. We're going to talk about fabrics I got some really nice fabrics from Cedar River, and got like a huge collection from Fiber on a Whim. I love their fabrics because they're always so soft and they don't seem to shrink after dyeing. A lot of fabrics that, are hand dyed sometimes end up really tight to be stitching with, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I love the softness of their Aida after they dye it, and I love the softness of the linen, and I like that the variation isn't like super crazy, where the fabric is the main event and not actually your stitching project. I also have some plain fabrics to show you that, are nice fabrics to choose. Right here, you get my full collection of classic color work silk. I'm so thrilled with those. That's another thing I want to actually, let me just grab a couple of them. Why I like these so much. It's, well, besides them being luscious and soft and you just want to hang with them all day, is that the variation on them is so subtle. It's like you're not getting big color changes. It's almost like you're stitching, with a solid color, but it just has that little bit of a worn look that is, these are really pretty too. Look at those. Ah, they're so luscious. They have more of the worn, weathered look, not the, like, for example, this one, I loved all the colors in it. So this is Thread Gatherer, but this is really difficult because you have, for the sampler that I used it worked really well. But, for reproductions, it really doesn't work. There's just, too many colors in here to, to use for anything other than fresh new designs. So I love this. This is actually a really pretty color. It's called Cactus and Sands. This was in, oh shoot, where did I use that? I think I used that in the Clogwin and Spring sampler, if I'm not mistaken. That is in the border. And then here, look at these. These are some of the reds. This is, yeah. That actually looks more bright red. It's actually more pinky red, like this. Got a bunch of yellows and the greens, good greens. Check out my Halloween decor. That's it. I don't know if you can see it. And here are the greens. Aren't they luscious? So beautiful. I just love those colors. Oh, what a joy. So I'm so thrilled to have those. And they're, of course, right here where I need them and can wreck them. There we go. So let's move on to, what do I have? Let's start with the books. So there's some new books, some old books, and some really old books. This is one of my little vintage stitchy stitchy books. It's from J.F. Ingalls, Monroe Street, Lynn, Massachusetts. And there's some cute little patterns in here. That cat right there, let me see, where's that little cat go? Where did that go? This little cat. It's okay if you see it. These are, like, this is from 1885, so we're good. I think I want to put that, I have a little box I want to show you, another vintage item that I found, but this is really cute. You might still find them. Every now and then, you know, I Google old pattern books, and, you know, I just come across them. This is like darned lace patterns. That's like a separate book that they did. And I was going to get a new camera that focuses better. Still haven't done that. I have it in my shopping cart. I guess I should check it out. So that's real sweet. And then I found this, which is really cute. Appropriate for now. Let me see if there are pages that I can show you. I mean, it's as simple as this little skull guy right there. Easy. I mean, you can put that on anything. Made a pin cushion with it. There's some cute, cute, cute stuff in there. And I got this. This is an old book from Abe Books. Abe Books is, I use that a lot. Right there. They have a lot of good vintage books, and sometimes they end up with having the best prices. So let me see what else is in here. That's cute. There's a rat in a cage, just what everybody wants. And this is cute. So there's really simple, these are all really simple, you know, but quick, and that's what I like. Sometimes you just want something quick and easy. You know, little projects. So this is, it's quite cute. It's called Creepy Cross Stitch 25 Projects to Haunt Your Halls, from Lindsay Swearingen, or Swearingen, don't know. Creator of Tuscan Cardinal. You guys might know that. I'm not familiar. Then I got the Dear Jane book, and that for me was just mainly for visual candy. You know, some books you just want to have to look at. And they actually had it in English and in German available. And it is Acufactum Ute Mense. So if you Google Dear Jane, just look at this, how pretty that is. My Dear Jane. And then, My Dear Jane, with this book we invite you to immerse yourself in the fascinating romance of the era in which an author like Jane Austen was born. Her stories, characterized by passion, elegance, and fine company, have inspired us to create a fantastically romantic collection that we have developed with extraordinary women. So there is, I think I may have to stand up so that I can flip this a little better. There is like quilts, beautiful ones. Well, we don't want to go into this part. How about this page? Looks really good. Pillows, stitched pillows. So there's all sorts of really sweet, sweet little thing where you actually can. And there's some places that sell her fabric. Chocolate Temptation, cake recipe. This is one of the stitched pictures, which is really sweet. And they made it into something, a project bag from the past. Well, that's a really cool project bag, but I'm going to have to cover half of everything here. Hold on. There we not go. Let me do it this way. There, you can see it better. So it has a whole bunch of different compartments, which is really cool. And I think this is fabric that they had printed. Let me see. And then there's a little box that you can make. Awesome bags. So there is, and it does have all the patterns and everything for all of these, and the fabrics and stuff, what to get. There's the stitching pattern for people who love horses, pillows, and some quilt stores might carry that. I don't know if they have a U.S. location. They might. I just Googled the book, and there was a stitching store actually here in the U.S. that sold the English. First, I wanted the German version, but that would have taken too long to get here. And these days with shipping, things are not always so easy. So that is My Dear Jane, and you're going to need this info right here. Accu factum, and her name is Ute Menze. Down here, you can also see it. They have a U.S. distributor, I think, also, especially for their fabric. I love that fabric. Then, book off the shelf, samplers from the Albert Victoria Museum. So, in here, it's just a beautiful book. So it's just pages and pages of gorgeous samplers. Sorry, they're a bit glary. Let me see if I hold it. This way might be. Okay. Where you can see it just, I mean, you can just sit there and go, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. It's just so many pages. You're just flipping here through. So this is, I would call it a coffee table book because it's almost all color plates, except for at the end there's just a few pages, you know, where there's written information. Excellent, excellent book if you want to just have a nice collection of beautiful books of samplers. And this is Claire Brown and Jennifer Weirden. Really, really pretty. There's that. And then Mary Jane Edmonds, Samplers and Sampler Makers, an American Schoolgirl Art from 1700 to 1850. And I'm having really trouble with which way around to flip things. So this one, compared to the other one, is a lot of information. So this is mostly written with, let me see where the good samplers are. So there is, it's broken up into centuries, you know, 19th century samplers. So you'll see all sorts of pretty color plates. Let me see right here. I'm trying to figure out where. To Betty Ring for her constant encouragement, my most sincere and grateful thanks. Well, we all know the beautiful Betty Ring books. We all probably have those. They're the best. Let me see. Is there an index? No. So it just goes. And it also has, you know, talks about private collection and all sorts of things like that. Quaker needlework and the whole thing. So this is definitely where this one is more visual This one is more reading, but probably gives you more info than this one. So just food for thought, you know, fun books on the shelf. Okay, and I cleaned out my, well, I didn't clean it out. I opened it and looked, and then it's like, oh, I want to stitch this. No, I want to stitch this. My folder with Darlene Osteen patterns. So we'll start with the smallest one. This little guy, the grapevine sampler. Talk about a quickie. But what I love, this is how many stitches you will see. So there's a bunch of stitches to learn. This one's a little ahead of the season. Holly and Ivy, really cute. Also needle sprays, Darlene Osteen. This is over here. One moment. These are the other ones. The other ones. Virtue Outshines the Stars. And for some reason, I keep on thinking, I think this was in a cross stitch magazine also. Not 100% sure, but I think it was. And then the sampler stitches. It's a little kit that I put together. And let me see, here is Mary's sampler. I love that these are small enough to, let me take it out to where we don't have to deal with glare, where they are small enough, and I wish I could remember who bought her catalog. I can't remember, but you know, small enough to do in a, you know, in a reasonable amount of time and still learn as you go. I mean, she has bigger ones, and her Queen sampler is probably one of her most famous ones. This is English Heritage. This has a combo of white work and a bunch of stitches. Really, really, really cool. Then this is the silk sampler. Beautiful. This was for a long time on my to-do list, and it may just go back to the front part of my to-do list. It's really pretty. There's a lot to learn. Richmond band sampler. This also has a bell that rings, just cross stitch. They had such good patterns in their early days, just cross stitch. There were so many designers in there, and you got really, really good stuff. That's Don Lewis. This is on the top of my list, the Cranberry sampler. But there is, I haven't gone through all of, let me pull out the cover page. I haven't gone through all my Sharon Cohen stuff. I think Sharon Cohen has a white work sampler that, not I think, I know has a white work sampler that I want to do before anything. So this is numbered 793 of 1,000. Don't know what that means. So maybe they do a limited, because these are obviously not the originals. This is, I think, one of the reprints from whoever has her catalog. And this one is, I don't know why this one is just so cute. I love this one. So simple, so tiny. I love it. And that also has quite a few stitches in there, and fun. So let's go, we'll go ahead and go through some of the other ones. This is Don Lewis. It's another beautiful sampler. Stitches of Silk. And this one is from the Scarlet Letter. I just got this recently. I saw this somewhere. I'm going to have to cut this open so that you guys can see it without glare. It's like almost, the chart's like almost a collector's. It's like wrapped in this fancy. Look at that. I just want to stitch the inside. That little house with the sheep. That is just so adorable. And on the back there is the original. And it's funny how, you know, nowadays the fabrics always change the proportions of these. That is so cute. So that was from the Scarlet Letter. Then here is a pincushion from the Nostalgic Needle, Sharon Cohen. I just got this recently, so that's why it's in the top of the pile. And then this one, I have no idea. It's also a recent one that I found on the secondary market. But I really thought this was nice. I love the bands on this one. It's really cool. But it's also, obviously, you can see 1993. And this Catharine Strickler, Indigo Rose, Peggy. Another really pretty sampler. And this is, let me grab this one, see, this one will not be so blurry. Queenstown Sampler Design. And this one is definitely gonna, this is got a lot of stitching. A lot of black work. And it's, hold on, can you, Queenstown Sampler Designs. There you go. And the chart is very tiny. Yeah. That's probably why we haven't looked at that yet. Need a magnifier for that. And then for newer, fun stuff, Needle and Moss. And let me get it out of here. And this is like, I think it's a fun end of summer stitch. And I love both of them. And I love the finishing on these are so cute. I got this on Etsy. Aren't those boats? And she made it so you can personalize it, like she gave optional little pattern things that you can add to, like right here. If you don't live in an area where you have that bridge, you can put in one of the other pieces. I thought that was really, really clever on her part. So, Needle and Moss. So those are the charts and the books. So we're going to end here, and guess what? We're going to move over to the other side, and we're going to look at samplers now. Yay! I'll see you in a second. Okay, we're back. I have my little step stool here so I can actually see if the camera's any good. So this is Sarah Ann Guy, and she's already out of the frame. We had to do that, you know, here for charting, but I wanted to show you just so. This is the model on 36 count, and it is rather beautiful. Thank you, Maggie, for stitching this. So pretty, and I love how she has a backwards S. And she crammed a lot of stuff in here, and the colors are really, really pretty. And here is the not quite as delicate as the other one I'm going to show you. This is the perforated paper of her sampler. Back colors are quite different. It's charted only for the front. Didn't do anything with the back colors. And she was framed. This was her backing. So the Greek guys find that interesting. So here she is, Miss Sarah. Sweet, and this was her frame. So I will put her eventually back in there once I get the spacers and the proper glass. And we'll also keep this in here, but she's going to get, you know, some better material to back her. I'm not quite sure. I haven't dealt with perforated paper that much. And this paper right here is pretty sturdy. It's not perfect, but it is, you know, quite sturdy. I have another one that is like very fragile, and I don't even know what I'm gonna do there. So that's these two. Let me move them over. And I don't think I've ever showed you this baby. Very, very pretty. It's a Solomon's Temple sampler, and it's stitched by Betty. Let me see how much. Betty Fielden, and she did a really, really nice job. It's very properly stitched, and the sampler itself is in excellent condition. It's 1833. There's a lot of house, and the back still has the linen fabric on it. So I left it on here for now until I decide what I'm going to do with her. But this is a really, really nicely stitched sampler. Well done. And then we move to this lovely young lady. You've seen snippets from her on Instagram. Look at this. This is what I call the chirpy center, except for when you get to this part. But look at that. Working in the garden, tending to the plants and the birds, and a gorgeous little house with a white fence. And there's another little motif of a sweet little house. A giant verse on how we're all going to die. This is so pretty. And this is the part that I showed. And here, let me just do a close-up on her little knit stitch section here. You see this? That's knit stitch right there. It's really funny how she just did this in this little area. Everything else is cross stitch. And there's a little boy while she's holding the baby, you know, playing with the puppy. This is just such a joyful scene. And over here we have a very patriotic looking bird. And this is Elizabeth Milbourne, November 1st, 1848. Forget me not. How could we? And she's got a nice simple border. Very, very cute. And here is the only other section with not just cross stitch. So we'll see. I think this will be actually, this has been recently laced, so this just needs to go in a frame now. It is pretty close to being done charted. And let's move on to, before I do more samplers, there's a couple of other things. So I found this recently. So I guess you guys all remember Warren Kimball back from the, what, was it 90s? Late 80s, early 90s, something in there. And they, and I looked at this and I was like, I could put some little stitch thingies in here, or even, I mean, this one, hold on, wouldn't work. It's just a hair too big, but I think I have something here to convert, you know, make like a 3-piece sampler to go into this. And I found this on eBay for very reasonable. And I wanted something by the front door, you know, to have like a quick, you know, place to hook some jackets or something. And this was the other one I found. And that's why I said that cat, that little black cat, would be so cute in here. And it's just another box where you can put something in. It's another Warren Kimball. Who knew he was still a thing on eBay? So don't send me there. I'll spend money when I shouldn't be. But I thought those would have quite the possibilities. And as many, this is actually a really cool tool. I'll show you how I use that. As many of you know, Peacemakers is done. They had to close their doors. There is all sorts of stuff going around. You know, well, it had to do with the lawsuit for I don't want to talk about it because it's not very nice. Not the lawsuit, but you know, there is stuff about cults and religion and abuse and whatever. So I want nothing to do with it, but I do love their needles, which now you have to buy while they still are here. And one of the things is that I love about their needles, they are really, for me, really easy to thread. It's not complicated at all. And so I'm always looking, and I came across these at Hobby Lobby, and I was like, I wonder if they're any good. And they're not bad. One of the things that I love about these, you can feel that they have a wider eye than this is what a lot of needles have. And you can, I'm not sure if you would be able to see the difference, but this is a longer, narrower eye versus this is a wider, fatter eye. So much easier to thread. They are about the same in length. This one's a hair shorter. I mean, just a hair, not a lot. And this one was really smooth too. I took like the silk, you know, and ran it through the eye a few times to see, but what takes me one try with the other one, well, I guess it goes here too, but it's nice. And this one actually, even though it's listed as a 26 needle, that eye reminds me more of the Peacemaker 28. So I know Kitten Stitcher still has Peacemakers. I don't know who else. There's a few. I think 123 Stitch still has Peacemakers. So they're going to eventually be all gone, and they're not coming back. So I also use them for quilting, so I need to double check to make sure I have all the quilting needles I need before I have plenty of stitching needles. I think I'm good for the next 20 years on these. But just in case you didn't know that, so that you do, if you use those needles, you need to get them. And here is another sweet, sweet, sweet little treasure. So one of the things that happened here, not this was, you know, after I got it, I assume that's what happened, that this little pin cushion got wet. It smells incredibly moldy, and it's filled with sawdust, which in most cases is like, yes, everybody loves, you know, sawdust, but if it gets wet, you have a problem. And that got moldy in there, so I'm gonna have to open this. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I just want to see real quick if that's indeed what's in here, if I can. And then get some new filling in there, because it smells so bad. It would be nice if they had a separate little pillow. Yes, they do. Oh, look at you. Smart. Tiny little stitches. So I would be able to take that out and put that's going to be kind of interesting. Well, maybe we'll open it all the way now. I don't have my magnifying glasses on. Maybe I should get those before we have snipping issues. One moment, please. Ah, much better. Now I can see. I hope you guys can see too. Exciting. I wonder what she has in there. Oh, that's unusual. What's that? Well, secrets. And I washed, well, can't call it washed. I soaked my grandmother's bodice that had all these little rust speckles all over it. And I soaked it in some Persil, cold water, let it sit there all day, and they all came out. So I carefully, you know, swooshed it and rinsed it, and not sure what we're going to do here. I mean, this fabric is really good, but I don't trust the red dye. What on earth is that? Well, I guess we're not only unframing, we're also unstitching. That's new. It's not going to happen again. Huh. Well, isn't that sweet? Is this going to come out? Guess I have to go along here just a wee bit. She did this really tight. Do you see this? It's like there's a little crochet doily in here. And this is a real nice fabric. Oh, here we go. Or here we don't go. Well, if I take this out, I have to remove the buttons. Well, if I leave the threads, I'll see where they are. Those are the same buttons my grandmother had. I wonder if somebody made this recently out of something old. That could also be, you know, that somebody, you know, remade it with old materials. Because this thread looks awfully fresh to me. Doesn't look that vintagey to me, which is possible. Wow, they got a good amount of knots there. Well, guys, I'm wasting your time, aren't I? Sorry. What fun, I get to stitch this all shut again. Ah, there we have it. That's where the problem was. Well, and there's still needles in there. Well, that could have been dangerous. So they made... Oh, that's cool. So, well, I have to go check what other needles are in there. So I'm going to see how well I can clean this up and make a different liner for it, maybe. I don't know. Because this has all the... Oh, God, that smells so moldy. So, there you have it. We did an unstitching. That is not that old. Still older. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go do the fabric real quick. So let's do the easy ones. These. And where's the pile? I need one more. I'm missing one. Yes, there's the other one. There's those from Cedar River. And now, also need to grab the ones from, start with these. I hope you can see these okay. So these are all really, I want to sort of lay them out. So this is pyrite from Cedar River. I needed some nice beiges, and when you see these next to each other, it actually is, this is a really good one, I think, for when you want a little bit darker beige, but not, you know, too mottled. So this is called Coffee Stained Pyrite. This one is Overcast. And then this is the last one I got from Jody, is Maple Bar. So this definitely, next to these, you can see it has a wee bit of a pinkish hue. These two are, this goes over into the greenated, but these two are really, really pretty beiges. I actually like them all for different projects, but this one actually would be really good for Rebecca Worral too, I think. I like that one a lot for her. And where is my other stock of fabric? Ah, right in front of me. Ta-da! So that's these guys. Then let's move to, if you want a darker beige, this one from Excess Commodities is called Smoke Signal. It's a 37 count. Their fabric is always really, really beautiful. And this right here is a Swikart, and it is Mushroom. So this one is also a really nice beige to use for all sorts of, you know, different uses. And now we go to the more colory stuff. And tell me, those are the ones we're going to be choosing from if you want for the next box. There is a lot. Look at this yumminess. Is this not delish? So, this is hazel. This is the perfect Halloween fabric, isn't it? That is so cool. It's called Brick. Let me keep the greens and the blues. Then Dune. Then there is, so Hazelwood, Brick, Dune, Eggshell. I hope you can see them all. Yes, they should be in the camera. Then we have Parchment, Affogato. Oh God, I love this one too. I don't know what I would stitch on it, but it's so cool. Earth. And this is super cool. Brown Sugar. Then this is a wild one. Cocoa. Milk and Honey. I've used that many times. That's a really great beige. Buttermilk. Latte. Cream and Sugar. That was already in a box, so we can't do that. So I'm just showing you. Cypress is also cool. I think that was also in a box. Cafe au lait. That is a really cool one also. Look at that. And then there's Oatmeal. That's a greenish yellow. Sand. This is really gold. Old Glory. And then these are really beautiful. Stone. I love this. I want to design something for this one. This is so pretty. Dusk. Then this one is Silver Fox and Steel. Aren't they gorgeous? I just love these. They're so pretty. Let me know what you think. Beautimous. Beautimous. Oh, so anyways, what I use this for, it's because I start stitching always top left. And I go in the frame shop I worked in when we framed, you know, the samplers and whatever else stitching. We always did like 3 inches was more than enough what we told customers. So this one, if you do 2.5, it's really easy. You can, you know, poke your little dot and make a little dot with this. You know, you got 2.5, 2.5. And I usually always go 3, so I just do from 3. And it doesn't have to be that exact. Some people get really, you know, super. If you're in the general area, you're good enough. But that's what I use this for. And it has the cloth counters. I don't use those. I always put my needle in and then still count the stitches. I mean the threads, just in case. I don't rely on those. But it is a cool little thing to have. Very handy. And let's see what else. Now we're going back to, yes, we are going back to finishing up. And here's another beauty. She is not charted yet. So this is the Ever So Fragile large perforated paper sampler. I posted the little bird design of it. So I'm just going to carefully, this belongs here. This has been off. I don't know if I ever will be able to attach this. Obviously not. But this was always, you know, at this section. This is where she's most fragile, is where she was just stuck in the frame, you know, up against the glass. And this was haphazardly, in my opinion, cut way too close. Look at the edge. Way too close to the design. But, you know, can't change that at this point. But she is really pretty. And one of the unusual things is, which is also a problem because down here it's rusting now. So they were stitched with steel beads. So this is actually a set of my antique steel beads that I have. Not that I'm ever going to use them. They were mostly made in France. So this is a size, let me see, a size 7 steel bead. And they came in little bundles. And they were faceted. And she was very advanced, you know, going through all of this, you know, with her steel beads. So it's 1848. When I'm going to reproduce this, it's going to be just regular threads. I'm not going to do any beading with this because that would be torture to most people. But it is a really, really stunning border. Gorgeous vases. She did it all in tent stitch, probably because this is a tiny perforated paper. This is going to be, I think, quite a bit larger once it's stitched. So, and it's the wish. I sigh not for beauty nor languish for wealth, but grant me kind providence, virtue, and health. Then richer than kings and more happy than they, my days shall pass sweetly and swiftly away. Catharine Elizabeth Corse, 1848, aged 9 years. So, really beautiful colors. This is going to be a spectacular sampler. So, it's just, you know, the other samplers I can lay real nicely next to me on my desk. This one, it's like I'm going to have to do a bunch of close-up photos and work from photos because it is just too fragile. That's probably going to live in the box. And here we have, she was just recently released, Miss Person. See, Marie Person, 1855. And she has, it's a little difficult here. Sorry, guys. She has the most unusual border. It created, I was looking, when I was charting her, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit to where you could see it better. Probably not, because you're going to get a really weird angle. Let me see if I pull it up a bit like this. And you should be able to see that, how it twists and has this little optical illusion. And I could not figure how she did that. I mean, the repeat of the pattern is this or this, and it goes around all the way, and it just ends up looking twisted by the time you make it around. And it's this mostly all religious symbols. If you're Catholic, you'll recognize most of them. So very, very, and I love the bright, bright, chirpy colors. There is some really unusual color combinations on this one. She's from the south of France. So, real sweet. And let me show you the back. This is actually one of the samplers that, due to being on this canvas, is in really stable condition. And there's not much difference in what you see from the front. And for considering she's, you know, with the wool and everything, it does look pretty good on the back. It's not like a crazy messed up sampler. So that's Miss Glory and Love. Amour au cœur, from the heart, I think, for Jesus. I think I translated it. It took me forever. I haven't had French since the 7th grade, guys. It's been a while. And here's another little sweetie. She's also really, really stable. And I need to get this in a safe spot with those buttons. One moment. And the stinky cushion over there. This is Betsy. Say hello, Betsy. Betsy Wrigley. And let me, she is, so Betty Wrigley finished this work March 27th, 1849, in the year of her age, and then she didn't put her age. Silly girl. And this is a big sampler, so I think it's going to be much smaller. She, you know, it's stitched in wool. Hold on, let me get some of that and flip it so we can, it's got a big old stain on there. And it's just brighter pinks and purples back here. It's really, and she did a really good back also. Nothing too crazy, but she's got those two pretty roses and the birds. And my favorite part is this, her between the flower pots and the trees. That just looks so beautiful with her two berries of baskets. Baskets of berries. Oh my goodness. Love it. Okay. So she'll be charted fairly soon. Not released yet. So don't ask. However, this beauty is released. That is Miss Rebecca. Miss Rebecca Worral, 1847. And her gorgeousness. Just figured I'd show close up. You can definitely find her in the store. And she was charted for front colors. We did not. She's way brighter in the back. We did not. I did not. Why am I saying we? There's only me. I did not go for bright backness. Most of you who know me, oh, look at those drag threads. I forgot about that. Know that I like muty more. And she had already so many colors in the front that actually, you know, were showing up to where I left it at that. And she's also charted for Ada, where when I did these butterflies for over 2, they actually fit in there kind of nicely, and we had to just shift a few things for the name, and we got that to fit also. So not too many adjustments were made. Miss Rebecca, gorgeous girl. Love her. And next, who's next? Oh, yeah, this is going to be part of the September box. And she is another one, difficult to chart because she is very fragile. But she is most gorgeous. I love her. Look at this. So it's Adam and Eve sampler, but this is where I have to be really delicate. And let's see, it's Emma Matthews. Let me just pull this up a bit to where it's more in view. So Emma Matthews. Wonder if I can flip it this way a little bit. That might work. And she's age 15 in 1855. So now I have to, and it's funny, she only used blue right here in these two spaces. And let me get close up for you there. Let me just hold it like this for you so you can, you know, see the bottom end of this also. There we go. There is all of it with her deers and these giant baskets and the birds. Oh, I love these. They're interesting looking deer. Beautiful border. This is the only, well, down here too. Let me see. I haven't looked at that. But this is definitely over one. But the colors are gorgeous too. I'm gonna see if I can flip her. If I put another board under her, I should be able to flip her. One moment, please, just so we can see the back. It's a little brighter on the back. Still cool. I like the front better. But I probably will pick up these colors because I don't think those are, yeah, those are. We're definitely going to pick up those, and I'm probably going to pick up the yellows, but I'm liking those muted greens much better up front. So, kind of cool, isn't she? So that is that one. Did I not miss anything? Oh yeah, I just want to show you. I got the model back from one of my first sampler ever. Hold on, let me move her carefully. So Pam, one of my stitchers, did this. So you remember Miss Leigh. So this was the original. And she's been sitting in there all her life since I've had her. But it's always was so difficult, you know, so I need to get her framed so we can get like good pictures of her. So she's quite a bit smaller. This is 36 count. But she turned out so pretty. And she stitched with flower threads. And there's I think I have either the conversion on the website or I have it in the chart actually. But this is, I always love this, you know, Heaven My Rest Keeps Over. And then 1865, my favorite part, Sin No More, Mary Elizabeth Leigh, age 13, Faith. Don't know exactly where it's from. I bought this in Florida decades ago. So, who knows? And now we got to get to work before the day's over. Or at least attempt it. Here we go. And there you have it. This is what we're going to try and attempt to open. How cool is that? Well, you're going to see a lot of glare. But these are the two best looking people ever. I love them so much. And this is all a rice stitch border. So let me see what I can find. And we'll go to work. See, I find this odd. This is like puffy right here. It's like bulging. I'm judging by this. This has been, I should have thought ahead. Let me pause this for a second so I can get the eyes out. You don't have to watch that. Okay. And here we're back. Yeah, this is a new frame. But it is quite dirty back here. Interesting. Wonder why this is like really bulgy. Give me just a second. There's so much sand on there. Sorry. Okay, that's better. So, whoops. I hope you guys can see. Okay. It feels like they padded this with a bunch. Oh my goodness. Why does it feel damp, like warped from moisture? It really does. Okay. This is going well, I can see. I guess we're going to pause again until we have all the nails out. Okay, guys, I'll see you in a second. Okay. Well, most of these actually are all breaking off, but this came out quite easily. You glued it? Or you glued the paper? What's going on there? Okay. They puffed her. That looks really damp there, doesn't it? Get this out of the way. So they didn't use spacers. And they did sew her onto like a piece of mat board with glued down linen, but I think they also, no, well, it stuck to some of the glue underneath. They got light stitches. They padded her, which is fine. It's kind of nice. So, a little bit of maintenance, and she's as good as new, but I'm not going to take her off. But up there, that is quite, do you see all this, the green? That tells me this got wet because that leaked, obviously. Look at her. Is she not gorgeous? I'm trying to figure out what she's holding. If you guys have an idea, I keep on saying it looks like a sword. Somebody said an apple picker, which could have been. Look at their faces. I have like a separate video where I got her in the mail. I love, love, love his hat. It is so gorgeous. This is tiny, tiny, tiny. I mean, you see the count of the linen, so there's going to have to be a few adaptations made because I don't know how we're going to do that. All that over one right here. Yeah, I don't think so. Love it. Look at that hair. And that face. And he's missing his arms. Wonder what happened there. She never got around to him. But it's finished in what, it's really a little bit something, you know, oh, the verse about favor. And beauty is vain. Be a woman that feareth the Lord. She shall be praised. Miss Leigh, aged 11. And it doesn't have a year. It seems like this never, would have been room in here for the year. And right here, there would have been still some stitching to go in. But I love, look at this. Is that not gorgeous? That's a rice stitch border. From what yeah. It's all rice stitch. Real nice. She did a nice job with that. That looks so good. And one of these days, just not right now, I'm going to take her off of that just to see, you know, what's underneath. You know, if it's kosher. I mean, it's okay what they did with this, but I think it could be done just a hair better. So, but is she not a sweet little thing? Okay, I think, are we done? Did I miss something? I can't remember. Let me look. Notes. Doop, got that. We're good. We did more than I thought we would. Okay, on that note, see y'all later. Take care. Bye.